Few animals can recognize themselves in a mirror, and it's highly debated whether even our little companions have any higher spiritual desires or beliefs. Aww. Humans, however, have a highly advanced sense of self. That's essential to tying together my memories, learning from them, and performing better.
I also have anxiety and need to argue with teenagers on Reddit.
Too advanced almost. And what for? One of us is able to thrive in a pack and eat pigeons, and the other one has to pay for drinking water. And that's the discussion we'll be having on this episode of The Poopy Show. Individualism. Why it's bad, and why an empirical realization of an ideal society is impossible because of it. But let's start with what I mean by individualism. Do you ever just sit down and reenact social situations in which you failed abysmally, even though you didn't really, you biologically derailed self-absorbed ball of nerves? Or maybe you like to create very complex plans for how you'd act in a hypothetical situation, which won't happen ever. Well, during daydreaming and also night dreaming, or as experts call it regular dreaming, your brain is in autobiographical self-model maintenance mode, meaning the brain is working hard to maintain your sense of personal identity. And personal identity is important. But because humans are pack animals, our personal identity has always gone through something specialists call something complicated. But for the circumstances of this video, I will refer to it as a vibe check. When in a smaller community, the individuals within the group will closely monitor each other. So when someone is being an ass and is up to no good, the other group members will of course go, "Hey, you are not the vibe right now, therefore have to be beaten with this stick. And if that doesn't teach you, well, you'll be banished or something." And the human group started small, mainly families, which then evolved into tribes, settlements, countries, unions, and it just got way harder to monitor individuals. Sure, the justice system is now more complicated than "you stole some food, so we are cutting your hands off because they're clearly the problem here." However, something interesting is that with all other species that have been observed, going against the good of the group, which is most often stealing resources, is only beneficial to individuals in larger groups. The pack will suffer less if it has more and only a little bit is missing, but someone will profit way more from that little bit. And with that information, let's go back to humans. We enjoy a globalized economy, but no laws are large enough and can be applied well enough to prevent harm to everyone who is part of that economy and is a matter of fact of itself. It has become impossible to vibe check everyone. Am I saying we should deglobalize society? No. I'm saying the economy and technology have progressed and expanded, but our morals have not, which is why BS like social injustice, sliced bread, and global warming exist. Furthermore, we've never been so connected and we've never had more freedom, yet we've never felt more anxious and alone. Why? As long as we're part of a group, which is in our biology, we should not be putting on these as individuals before the needs of the group. Because a group of individual people with their personal needs always taking priority, that's not a group, that's a bunch of people in proximity to each other. Which is kind of what humans are doing right now, because selfish individualism for us has just become something synonymous with freedom. I'll give you an example to illustrate what I'm talking about better. Let's say a dangerous virus spreads all around the globe, and it's extremely harmful for the weakest members of the group. Oh no, Nana. But it's preventable. You just have to do this one thing for the greater good of your group. See, the virus is airborne, so the ideal solution is to wear a mask.
Okay, fuck this shit, fuck all your nanas. I'm just gonna wear a mask around mine. You're not gonna take my individual freedom from me.
Now that's not ideal for the group. But I also spoke of resources. An imaginary shortage caused mass panic that caused mass overconsumption that caused an actual shortage. Now half the people in the group can't wipe their ass or eat macaroni. And still, surprisingly, some individuals greatly benefited from the misfortune of the group. And he is free to do so, even if it's affecting others negatively. Having individual freedom is not inherently negative to groups, but choosing to ignore others when exercising this freedom is just selfishness, and a bad exercise of individual freedom. Okay, well, the current way society works allows for this type of behavior. But Poopy, what about a system of social organization in which all property is owned by the community and each person contributes and receives according to their ability and needs? Okay, I know that the idea of communism is tempting to a lot of young people at this point because most of us can't imagine ever owning property with our current wages. But changing the system is not fixing the problem. Because imagine cake. Everyone loved the idea of getting chocolate cake because everyone likes chocolate cake. And it was agreed that everyone would cut as much cake as they need, and not a piece too big to finish. When it comes to cutting the cake, someone takes their slice. Next person comes in and takes a slightly smaller slice. But then someone comes in and does this. And everything is ruined for everyone forever. Again, I'm talking about selfish individualism here, which will be a problem no matter what political and economic state the world is in. Okay, I've given you a lot of morbid stuff to think about, but what do? Do we leave society to form packs like dogs? Do we start glamorizing radical socialism? Or do we become bike cuck? I don't know. I do believe the destructive side of individualism will be bred out of our DNA when fungi take over. Until then, I vote for option 1. Write down in the comments which option do you prefer best. Okay, bye.